So I'm on Twitter all the time, and I'm always like, yeah, I'm like smartest person ever. Like, I have the greatest vocabulary. Like, I have like the most advanced English vocabulary in the world, is what I claim on Twitter. Here in Origen's commentary on books 13 through 32 of John, he says, "The words that cannot be spoken, which Paul has learned, are also beyond that which is written. If indeed men have spoken the things that have been written, and the things that eye has not seen are beyond the things that are written, and the things that has not heard cannot be written." All right, so in the Bible, what's the word for heaven? Uranus. Uranus. What's the word for sky? Uranus. Like, so, like when we were talking about like not having words to comprehend reality, like we don't even have a different word for heaven and sky in the Bible. So I think that like a lot of people heard me say that I have a higher vocabulary than them, and they thought, "Yeah, you don't understand how advanced I am. I went to Harvard or something." Like, did you study computer science like me? Like maybe you're more advanced in like medical vocabulary, which I did like study for the RN exam when I was in jail for like a week, not even. But like when I talk about like what's a stack, and I'm sure this is the moment you go, I'm not going to understand this. Maybe I believe this guy. Like he speaks a different language. This guy knows like a completely different language, and it's like when he talks about computers, you're about to not understand me at all. All right, so what's a stack? Someone said something about a stack, like I need to find a new stack, and I was like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but I do know that like there are a lot of people on the internet that do JavaScript, and I'm guessing there are stacks. Like I'm gonna do this stack, like maybe React is a stack. Like which is like a way of doing well, I guess like React would be like for like the internet, for like web development, but like React Native would be like a cell phone app development thing. All right, so so they were like saying like I want to do a stack, and like a stack would be like I said, a stack data structure like in memory. So there's like this stack in the heap, and like the heap is dynamically allocated data. Like, and when we talk about dynamically allocated data, like we're talking about like data that's entered into the computer through like the keyboard, through like chars. We're talking about data that's like kind of like working memory, I guess. Whereas the stack like tends to be like an execution stack. So like when instructions on what code's gonna execute like go into the stack, like it like will like push it down. Like so like as they get put in, like things will get further down the stack. And like the last one that's put in, like the most recent one will come out of the stack. And so like when you're talking about like code instructions, like and how they end up in the stack and where they end up in the stack, like that's an important thing. But you can also like understand like a data structure that is a stack, which like in memory we've talked about like there's a type of memory, like a way of storing data that like can be in a stack or can be in the heap. And I guess that like variables can be like like have its own storage area, but I think that's talking about global variables versus like local variables. I'm not sure. I just saw like a picture of it. Like I haven't researched this lately, like, but I am a memory specialist. So like in Java, when you create a stack, like you can do things to it. Like you can figure out the size of it. Like you can figure out if it's empty, like if there's anything in the stack. Like if you can push something onto the stack, you can pop something off the stack, and I guess you can peek at the top of the stack. So like in pandas, like when you're talking about like a different data structure, which you're talking about a data frame, like you'd say like, what type of data structure is a data frame in pandas? And we look at this and go, okay, what is it? Is it? And then everyone goes, it's in Python. It's the data structure is an object, and then everyone goes, what? Like a data structure is an object, like a string is an object, an array is an object, a list and a tuple is an object. Everything's an object in Python. Is that a good definition? Clearly, it's a two-dimensional like I think in memory he's using arrays, but he's not just using arrays. Like he has to have like a relationship between like those columns and rows to the data, and so like he's using other data structures also. It's a complex object, but like I think that like you would try to like isolate the arrays to make like everything faster, like for processing. So when we talk about in memory, like data structures, like in like what does that mean? Like we're talking about data structures that are built into like the operating system, specifically for me, like of Windows. Like there are arrays, there are trees. I think they have hash maps. Like clearly like doubles, integers, long, like a long pointer. Like there are pointers, which a pointer is like like it will like give you like a hexadecimal value, that like tells you like a memory location, because like each memory location, like it's like a physical thing, like even though like you can't see it, like it feels like invisible. Like it does have a number to like to that coincides to what it is. I wanted to show you a hexadecimal value that would look like a memory location real quick, and I couldn't find one in my code. Like I just did like a quick search for it, but that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's like a hexadecimal value. But if it was in memory, it would be like 0x0 something else, because there's always a preamble. So there are like built-in data types like in the operating system that are like easier for the operating system to work with. And I feel like our natural inclination as programmers is to go, I want to do data frames, like I want objects that are multidimensional. Like here I have an array buffer, which is an array that's mutable, of array buffers of strings. And like, what is a string? Well, it's an array of chars, so it's an array of characters. So like I actually have array, an array, an array. And it's like, that's like, it's not just two-dimensional. Like even though like I feel like everyone would say that looks like a two-dimensional array to me, like, and I would say it's probably or I mean a three-dimensional array, and I would say like it's probably like more than that. So here's an example of a three-dimensional 3 by 3 by 3 array in NumPy. So like, why would you use NumPy? You would use it with pandas, and like so like it would make everything faster because it like knows that you're dealing with numbers, and it's gonna do like C types, and like it's gonna be like super fast. Like I assume I think it's all C. I don't, yeah. In like data science and in like artificial intelligence and machine learning type stuff, like we might need to like we like you do a lot of like transposing of like multi like three-dimensional or two-dimensional arrays. Why am I at that point where I'm going like, what's 1D, what's 2D, what's 3D, what's 8D? Only people that have gotten 6D in are not confused. They're the ones that know. Like once you're 60 in, you have to start going, okay, I'm doing a bad job. Like you need to like unwind these data structures. So like you'll have to transpose something, and then you'll have to like do some like processing, like for like mathematics. So like when you're doing linear algebra, like which has to do with like algebra on like with like an Excel sheet. Then a lot of time you have to do like you have to like when you do a transpose, like you're taking a data structure and you're turning it sideways. So we've gotten to that point where we're going, okay, like what's a stack? what's a multi-dimensional data structure? Like you have to code it to get to like understand what it is. But like the stack has to do with like the way that the memory is executed. So like you have an algorithm that's the stack, and when like the data goes through it, it goes through the stack. And it's like when we're talking about like the TLS encryption stack, and everyone's going, dude, I am confused because I know what a stack is in JavaScript, and I'm confused because I don't know JavaScript, but I believe you've got a stack. It's difficult to understand that. But generally the stack is like the stack of the program. Like when we're talking about like the OSI layers, and like we're talking about like the presentation layer, which is like the GUI, like what you're seeing right now, and then like all the other layers underneath. But the OSI stack is like talking about like transportation of data. So like when I'm like sending internet information out, like when I send out like a package to go to a website, I'm using the OSI layers, and like I'm using a stack, as weird as it sounds. And like when my data hits their routers, like it hits like the stack. Like, and I think we're all confused by that because we're going like stacks are in computers. Like I thought there's a Stack Overflow. Why aren't you talking about Stack Overflows? It's because I'm not talking about like malloc. Like I'm not talking about memory allocation. Like I'm not talking about like not having enough space in the buffer. Because like when you like set up a data type, like you set up like space for the data that's gonna be there in the computer, and like if you don't have enough space, you can get a Stack Overflow. But like you can also get a heap overflow. Malloc is a C thing, like it's for like memory allocation, like it's like setting up like memory locations because you have to do like low level stuff with C.